Okay, so we're going to move on to the intTester. Um, what we did when we were running that is that we had that uncommented out. So it meant that main was running byte tester, goes all the way through that, outputs that 4 times, is done, and comes back. If we were to run it in this configuration, I would see it run 4 times from 0 to positive 127, negative 128, all the way back up. Do that 4 times. When it would exit that, it would be done with byte tester, and it would move on to the next, and it would run intTester. I don't need to see it run. I know that that works, so I'm going to comment byte tester out. And so now the only method that we're going to be running now is going to be intTester. So it runs main, it finds intTester, and it looks for all of the methods in here. It just happens that it's the next one. Where it is in the program doesn't really matter. It will find it at some particular point. It finds intTester, and now what this is doing is I'm outputting the largest and the smallest value of what an integer can be. You're seeing that over here. There's the largest, there's the smallest. I've got a while true, same sort of thing. I'm going to be adding 1 to that and watching it flip around. So this is the largest value, and what I want to do is I don't want it to loop forever. I don't want to start it at 1. I'm going to start at a very large value. So instead of 100, I'll have it count up to 140, 147. So the max value is 647. I'm going to start it at 500, add 1 to it each time, and then we're going to be good. So I have this other counter here, just as we did with byte tester. While true doesn't make a whole lot of sense, so I'm going to say while count double equals 0. So while count is 0, stay in this loop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another similar to our byte tester. If my int, if that is less than 0, then I want count to equal 1. All right, so count's going to go up. It's going to be assigned to 1. I'm not going to increment it. I'm going to assign it to say year 1. So this is count is basically, it's kind of like a Boolean. When it's 0, I'm going to be inside this loop. Finally, it's going to be my int is going to be less than 0. It's going to go negative. Switch count to a 1. This condition is now going to be false, and we're going to be done. If we run this, here we go. So we set it to 500. Here's the first one. So these two values here, those are the max and the min. So it's 501, and it's going up by 1, it's going up by 1, it's going up by 1, it's going up by 1. Eventually it gets to the max value at 647. It adds 1 to it, and all of a sudden it's going to go negative. Maybe I want it to run a little bit more. This is on the assignment sheet. So what if I wanted to run a little deeper? Instead of stopping count at this particular point, I'm going to do a nested if statement. Not only do I want to know if it's 0, but I want it to run from the smallest value and show some of those negative values. Instead of just one negative value, I want to see several. I want to see 500 maybe. So I'm going to do a second test. So I now know if I'm inside this if statement, I know that my int has flipped and become negative. So I'm going to have count change, but only when I'm going to do a second if. If my int is greater than negative, and I got to get all those numbers right, 247 million, 483,000, something like that. and 3. Oops, I already have that 3. 48, 3, 500. Give it that value. All right, so if it's greater than this is when I want count to change to a positive value, right? From 0 to positive. Now, why couldn't I just put this if statement? Why do I have to have these two ifs? Why not just put this inner if here and be done with it? Well, the reason is that I'm initializing my int to a really big positive integer, which is larger than any negative value. So it would output it once and be done. So if I were to run this, notice what happens. And I hope that I get to, yeah, there it goes. So it's a positive number. It's getting larger, 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 larger. And right here, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It kind of is flipping out a little bit, but it gets to the largest value, and then it switches to negative. Nope, I'm sorry. That's the start of it. Here's where it switches. There's the largest value. It switches to the smallest value. It adds 1 to it, and it's done. The only, as I said, so I need 2 statements. I need to test to see, are you negative? And now, are you larger than a very small negative number? And that's what's going to stop this. So that is, that's intTester, watching that same principle as byte, just a lot bigger. If I wanted to have it loop 4 times, I'd be here all night long.